Came to using coffee in your work, have you always done that? Was that because of Starbucks?
No, it
Yeah.
wasn't because of Starbucks at all. It was that I had always, I do a lot of, like I draw a lot, I sketch a lot. I find that the world makes sense to me when I have like some kind of implement in hand. So like I doodle all the time, right? It helps me slow down everything and sort of like focus and kind of break it down into manageable parts. And I often do it in the morning. I get up really early, and so I like that quiet time at like 4 when everybody's asleep, and it's pitch dark outside, and I'm there with my trusty notebook and a pen, and I just kind of doodle to get ready for the day. And it was in one of these moments that I happened to be drinking, like, I mean, happened to, I drink coffee every morning. So I was drinking coffee while I was drawing, and I was using like a ballpoint pen, but no, actually it wasn't a ballpoint pen. It was like an ink pen, but not like a professional ink pen, but just like a regular like pilot pen or whatever. And it was just, yeah, like that. And sort of, it had like as actually it was just like that one, except it was blue.
Yeah, these are the
And
best
right.
pants.
And so like I didn't spill coffee, but something had happened to where a drops of it fell on that ink and it just sort of bled. And I thought, that's really, really like, I really like that. And so I started just like, I took a brush and I started applying coffee to that page, and then it would activate the ink. And then as it dried, it created this really kind of wonderful transition from like coffee to ink to paper to all sorts of stuff. And then I was just like, okay, well, I think I'm going to be using this from now on because it also gave me, when you're layering in art making, when you're layering different figures or objects, um, sometimes you want to create like a midtone, and coffee is just very convenient because it's there. It dries really, really fast, and it's not like super intense. And unlike ink, I like to sometimes like do ink washes. So I'll take like India ink and mix it with water. Well, ink washes can be very inconsistent depending on how much ink versus water you mix, right? So you're going to get a different variant. Plus, you got to mix it, right? So that means you got to get the thing out, you got to drop in water, it's a process. With coffee, it's already in my cup. So I just wait till I'm close to the finishing the coffee in it, then I just start painting with it. And now I use it like on canvas. I use it on all sorts of stuff. I like when ink, or I like when like charcoal mixes with coffee on canvas, and then it creates these lovely, just passages. It's really, really fantastic. And then depending on how long you let it dry, on canvas, it'll, you know, get inside the canvas more. You can just kind of let it sit for a little bit, maybe dab it off, and you just get a little bit of it, or you let it sit overnight, and then it will stain the canvas much more intensely. So yeah, it wasn't Starbucks, but I always kind of like that thing. And I also use red wine, to kind of alter with the coffee.
So, as far as like, did you know about this coffee mixture with ink before that happened? Do you know?
No, it's completely accidental.
Oh, it was completely accidental. Do you have any colleagues that use similar things?
No, I kind of, for a while, like people thought I was doing it because I was trying to find a hook, like, ooh, I want to be the coffee guy. But it really had nothing to do with it. It was just really more something that's always there for me. I always like had co coffee with me in the morning. Um, and then even later, what would happen is I would often, if I went to like different artist lectures or presentations that were like out in the world, like meaning at like Seattle Art Museum or stuff like that, I could just have a cup of coffee with me. Then I would stop and get like at Starbucks. And then I just had the pens and I'm sketching and I'm drawing. And then I would just dip my finger in coffee and just start like painting with it. And that was actually one of my favorite drawings was in just in a ruled notebook, and I had gone to Seattle Art Museum because they had an artist talk with McLean Thomas and Carrie Marshall, whose work I really really admire both of their works. With Caterina Manchanda, who is the curator of modern art at Seattle Art Museum, and I'm watching talk. And I used this thing. I was using just my pens that I had and then coffee to kind of stain to give some kind of color thing. Um, and it was one of my favorite drawings. And I remember like posting it on Instagram or something. And like all three of them saw it. And I just thought like, oh, that's kind of neat, which kind of led me to actually be fortunate enough to work with Caterina Manchanda for my master thesis, which came because of that drawing.
That's awesome.
Like that was one of those moments when I thought, this is just wild, and it was such a it's like one of those projects that still to this day kind of think like, man, that was I like to have these projects that I do, like different things that I can look back over time and I think that was really great. I like how that turned out. It was like a one-off, but I really feel like it was a good thing to dedicate time and effort to.